Today we're going to install the Can-Am Command Center that is made by Extreme Metal Products. What we have here is the Command Center is a switch plate for the Can-Am Commander, and it features 4 rocker switches, all of them illuminated, on a metal panel that also incorporates a fuse block and a grounding block right here. This is a very neat application because it allows you to install 4 switches into the Can-Am Commander, into your console, in a very neat, precise package here. This panel appears pretty simple to install, and this product comes with the tie wraps that you're going to need to install it. It comes with mounting screws that go into the mounting holes, and another neat thing about this product is it comes with this wiring harness here that goes from your battery and your grounding points in the Commander, and it connects right here to your fuse block and to these grounding points. As you can see here, there's several extra grounding points for your accessories that you can connect to as well. And if you wanted to, there's a couple of extra fuse blocks here for some other accessories that you may want to add in the future. Okay, the first thing that we need to do to install this fuse block is we need to remove the center console from the Can-Am Commander. Okay, now that I've got the center console out, what we need to do next is we need to fit the Extreme Metal Products Command Center into this hole. As you can see here, to make that happen, we need to cut out the back side of the panel here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove all of this area here. Okay, so what I've done here is I've gone ahead and removed more material off the back side of this, and as you can see here, what I've gone ahead and done is I've removed this entire back panel. This gives me the most access to install the Command Center. So let's take a look and see how that fits in. Okay, when you take the Command Center, you just slide it right in. As you can see, since I've removed all that material back there, it slides in pretty easily and will mount in perfectly. Now, one thing that I want you to take note of is when you're doing your cutout is to make sure that you do not disturb these 4 points right here, because these 4 points are where you're going to mount through your screw holes. Okay, so I've gone ahead and riveted in my Command Center. Okay, all my switches here. You can see it doesn't shake, it's not loose. It's very firmly mounted into the center console. Okay, so now that we've got all that done, now we need to go ahead and install the Command Center, or the whole console, back into the Commander. But there's something we're going to do a little bit different than what they have here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wire this up using relays. If you want to find out more about how to wire your Commander using automotive style relays, there is a YouTube video out there, and it is titled Wiring Your Can-Am Commander Using Relays. So if you go to that and search for that, you'll see all the explanation you need to know on how these automotive style relays work and how to wire your Commander with these relays. Okay, so for this application, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to install one. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I want my relay to run off of this first switch here. Okay, and in order to do that, that switch is connected to this post here, and that one right now has a 10 amp fuse in it. I'm going to go ahead and swap that out with a 25 amp fuse. Okay, just simply pull that out. I'm going to move the 25 amp fuse up to the 10 amp where the 10 amp was, and move the 10 amp back down here. Okay, very simple, easy to do. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is you want to have some jumpers made up. And what I've done here is I've made 3 jumpers for this application. Okay, the jumpers will provide a ground and power to the relay and to the switch. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to apply the 12 volts DC to pin number 30, or post number 30, on my relay. Okay, in this case it's this post here. The 12 volts DC on the Command Center comes in right here at this post, goes through the fuse block, and comes out on this red wire. Okay, if you can see that there. And that red wire goes right now to the switch. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off the switch. Okay, grabbing it at the terminal and pulling up. Don't pull the wire because you'll pull the wire right out of the terminal. Okay, and I'm going to connect that to post 30 on my relay. Just give it a good tight fit there. Okay, and it's on there. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to apply the ground. Okay, so the first jumper I'll use that I've made is my little ground jumper. And as I showed you before, right here they've got all these neat grounding points. Simple, easy access. So you just snap in your ground jumper wire there, and you're going to go to pin 85 on your relay. Okay, put that on post 85 there. Okay. Now, I've got 12 volts DC coming in and I've got a ground. Now I need something that will control the relay and basically make it switch on and off, and that's what our switch is going to do. Okay, so there's actually two things that you need in order for that to happen. You need an input voltage through your switch and an output voltage. The first thing I'll go ahead and do is I'll hook up the output voltage. Okay, I'm going to hook that up to one of the posts on my switch down here. I'm going to hook it up to this bottom post. I know you can't see that in the camera, but when you see your switch here, all the switches are the same. I'm going to in this panel, so I'm going to hook it up to the bottom post on this switch. Get in there. Okay. Here we go. So now I've got the output from the switch, which I'll now connect to my relay. And that then goes to pin 86 on my relay. Okay. So now I've got 30, 85, and 86 all connected up to my relay. The last thing I need to connect to my switch is my last jumper. Now, this jumper that I created is just for the sake of making it easy to connect on and off. And what I've got here is I got a female on this side and a male on this side. The male on this side is going to go to a switch, and I'll show you in just a minute, that I've connected to the ignition wire on my commander. That ignition wire is the 12 volts DC that will then go through my switch and activate my relay on and off. So let me connect my jumper here. Okay. That right down there on the post. Make sure it's in there firmly. Okay, so now I've got my switch, or excuse me, I've got my relay all connected, and there should be one empty post, and that's post 87 on my relay. What is that empty post for? That's for your accessory. Now, the neat thing that I also discovered on this command center here by EMP is I found that they've got a couple of bolts that hold the fuse block on that actually make a really nice mounting point for my relay. So I've got a couple of, I got a lock washer and a nut here that I'm going to go ahead and attach my relay right here to this post. And again, I'm going to do this again on the other side in just a minute, but I want to go ahead and finish up this application. Okay, let me tighten that down, snug it up, and I put a lock washer on there, like I said, to keep it from coming off. I'm going to snug it up with my pliers. Should be enough to hold it. It's just a light little relay. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over to the commander, and I'll show you over there what I've rigged up over there. Okay, so what I've got here is I've gone ahead and I've created a little jumper here for two switches, or two switches, and these two jumpers here are coming off of my ignition. This is my ignition plug that goes to the center console, and it looks like that is a black wire with a yellow stripe, and it's the one that's on the far side. Okay, the first one there. So I've used a little tap, inline tap, tapped into that, and I've created my jumper here. Now, as I told you, we're going to use this ignition voltage to run through our switch. That's why I had you on the console put that little jumper coming off the switch. Now that is that wire there, and I've got a little male there and a female on this side. Just going to plug them up. Okay. Now I've got 12 volts DC going from my ignition through my switch, coming out to my relay, and the last thing I have left to do is to hook up my accessory light. Okay, so now that I've got all my wires connected here, the next thing I need to do is I need to connect my power and my ground coming to my command center. And that's where we're going to use the wire, or the harness that was included with the command center, and it's this harness here. Okay, as you can see, it's a pretty heavy duty harness running some pretty heavy gauge wire. Now the ones with the big lugs on here on this side are going to go to your battery and to your ground, and the small lugs will connect to the command center. So I'm going to go ahead and route this under the dash and to the battery, and I'll get it all connected. Okay, so let's take a look at what I've gone ahead and installed here. I went ahead and reconnected all the connectors to the back of the console there. I've installed the EMP Command Center here, and if you look right here, this is the power wire and the ground wire that was supplied with the kit. I've got the power, which is the white wire coming from my 12 volts DC battery, going to the fuse block, and then on this side the black wire right there is coming right here to my grounding block, which is also part of the panel. I have added the 2 relays, which you can't quite see, but they're underneath here. Really hard to see, but I've installed both relays, and I've got both of my accessories connected to the output of my relays. And then I've gone ahead, as I've told you before, is I've hooked up the ignition jumpers to the 2 switches that will be running the relays. So that 12 volts ignition coming off the ignition wire through the switch and into the relay, and then the 12 volts DC power coming from the battery through the fuse block to the relay. So that gray wire, that one that was supplied with the kit, I've gone ahead and let me show you down here what I've done is I've installed it down here. Now this is the battery on the driver's side, and I've run the cable and I've stripped back about 6 or 8 inches of that insulation, as you can see right there, and that white wire comes down and connects to the battery. Okay, and then the other wire I've gone ahead and jumpered it over here, and it's connected right to that nut there, which is the grounding strap. So it's a nice good ground, heavy gauge wire, beautifully done by EMP there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and button this up. You can see that this all works really well. The EMP Command Center panel here is a pretty excellent panel. I really like the fit and finish of it. Again, a real good quality product from EMP. And there it is, the finished product from EMP, the EMP Command Center 4-switch panel that mounts right here in your Can-Am Commander.